Soshanguve residents have expressed frustration and concern over the high level of crime in the Jukuyln section. To help us unpack why we are seeing such high levels of violence there, we are joined by crime analyst Willem Els. Mr. Els, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. Now, in your opinion, what are the most common types of crimes that are currently occurring in Soshanguve, especially within the Jukuyln section?
Good evening to you. Yes, if you look at the most recent crime statistics, we see that the Rietgat police station, of which Block P is a sector, we see that they feature very frequently in virtually all your different sectors of crime on the crime statistics. But more specifically, we see that they feature on the top 30 of police stations in South Africa when it comes to your contact crimes. Your contact crimes are your murder, your assault, GBH, robbery, etc. But we also see that in terms of kidnappings, in Rietgat is number 4 in the country when it comes to kidnappings. So all in all, it doesn't paint a very good picture for that area in the Rietgat police station area.
And Willem, what would we say are the main factors contributing to this heightened crime in that area?
Well, if you look at that, you've got your normal drivers of crime, that is your poverty, your unemployment, etc., etc. But what we also picked up in that area is that there are various reports on social media, but also on the media, where the citizens of that area are actually complaining that the police, the local police, and also what we saw recently in the shooting, that one of the victims was actually a police officer from the Tambo International Airport that was under investigation but not suspended for some crimes. They complain that these police officers are in cahoots with the gangs that are operational in that area. And we must just understand how these organized crime syndicates operate. They cannot really operate in an area if they do not compromise a state actor. So the more state actors and the higher the state actor that they can compromise, the more successful they will be in that area. And what we see here is based on the reports of the people of the area, that it seems that quite a few of the police officers that is supposed to protect and to serve that area are in cahoots with these organized crime syndicates.
I mean, some of the residents that have lived there over a number of years have spoken how the crime rate seems to have now increased as opposed to the levels of crime that existed 15 years ago. How have these trends evolved over the years in terms of the types of crimes that are happening? I mean, you speak of kidnappings, you speak of a lot of contact crimes that are happening within Soshanguve.
Yeah, if you look at your contact crimes, we say over the last financial year that there was an increase of 64% in contact crimes alone. So, and those are your violent crimes. So it seems that in that area that crime has become more violent. It has become more organized. If you look at the recent attack, we see that reports are that the gang, they were very highly organized and specialized. They wore bulletproof vests and they came in a very organized manner when they attacked these people. So that is just an indication to us that the professionality of the gangs have increased. They are very well organized, and also they are very well protected within the area, because we do not see a lot of arrests of these people.
Speaking of how well organized they are, and of course you make mention of how heavily armed this particular group of gang was when they were taking out the shooting on the 4 deceased. Where are they finding their weaponry from? Is there a correlation with what you mentioned earlier on, that there seems to be a lot of police involvement?
It can be. We cannot count that out. But what we see and how we see these organized crime gangs work is they do source firearms. So you've got the cooperation between the gangs. So you've got gangs that focus on securing firearms, and then they are renting out these firearms to these gangs, and they give it back. What we also saw in the past is certain police officers are borrowing their firearms to these gangs to work, and also some of our military that are borrowing their firearms. Or what happened in the past, they would take firearms from the magazine, they will rent it out to these gangs after the crime's been committed, then they just place those firearms back in the magazines. So those are just some of the sources that are being used by these organized crime gangs.
When we speak in general, Willem, especially when it comes to previously disadvantaged areas, are there any noticeable patterns or characteristics among the offenders, those that have been found, that contribute towards the crime rates in previously disadvantaged areas?
Well, in those areas, of course, you have some of the drivers prevalent that I mentioned with the introduction, is that you've got poverty, you've got your unemployment rate that is quite high. But one of the challenges that you also have, and that we must understand, is that, you know, those gangs, most of the time they live amongst the people. Most of the times the people know who these perpetrators are, but because of the lack of trust and maybe fear of the police, they do not expose these people, and then they have to live in fear with these people. So that makes life unbearable for these people in these areas because of that. You know, we see that your trust levels within the police is at an all-time low, and that makes it very, very difficult, especially for the people living in your previously disadvantaged areas, in your poorer areas as well, where they cannot trust the police. And we have to address that. You know, the fish rots from the head. So we will have to address this problem from the top down. And if we do not do that, things are really going to go south in that area.
And maybe let's also just talk a little bit about resources, and if there are enough resources within these local police stations to assist, especially in crimes of this magnitude, because you did mention that Rietgat has got, is part of the top 4 when it comes to kidnappings and top 30 when it comes to contact crimes. But also you find residents saying that you have police vans escorting delivery cars into the township because it's not safe. Therefore, if we are certain resources to assist in delivery cars and not necessarily be chasing after those that should be chased after, you certainly have a big problem there.
We do, and we see those problems in other areas like in the Western Cape as well. But that is just an indication for us that you know, our police service is sick. We have to really administer some serious ICU to them because you know, you spoke about resources. Now, in the past 10 years, the budget of the police increased by more than 70%. 70. So what is happening to that money? Is it adequately? Is it well distributed? How does management distribute that money, and how do they look after the stations that, like Rietgat, that is under resourced, as we heard. You know, because one of the things, once you get the impression as a police officer that you are not being looked after by senior management and by management, it's very bad for the morale of the people. So if we can address the shortcomings there, but also we have to look at this. We're looking at what they call a Jukulyn Block P. It's a sector within the Rietgat police station. In South Africa, we have a system of policing. We call it sector policing. So there should be a sector manager within that area that is sending up sector reports on a weekly basis to management at the police station, and that goes to the province, etc. What has been done? What have they done with that? You know, that is the problem that we are sitting with. We're sitting with reports upon reports upon reports and people reporting, and we do not see a lot of action when it comes to addressing the crime, and that should come from the top. It can't be done on foot soul level, just as the problem is there. We have to start at the top. We have to ask questions, serious questions, to the province. We have to ask serious questions to the station management of the Rietgat police station. Why are these things happening in your sector, and what have you done about it? But that is the one side. The other side is, Sector policing and community policing cannot function if the public does not become involved. So we need trust between the police and the public so that the public can report to the police and the police can take adequate action. That is what we have to work towards, and that is how a well-functioning police station is actually supposed to work.
And speaking about a well-functioning police station, Willem, have there been any successful strategies or initiatives implemented to address crime, especially in townships, that could be duplicated and implemented in places like Jukulyn?
Yeah, what we see nowadays is we've got this operations on national level where we focus a lot of manpower in a certain area, and then they really do a lot of arrests, and they clean up that area, then they move to the next area and the next area. But that is only one solution that we have. In the past, one of the solutions that worked is when the military and the police work together. Military would actually cordon off the area, and the police will move into an area and they will clean up that area. That restores the trust in the police because then you see actions. That is the one problem. The other problem that you also need is we have a severe lack. There's one of the commentators that mentioned some 330 outstanding cases that are being investigated in that sector alone. So we have a severe shortage of really skilled detectives. That's one of the strategies that we can do. We can allocate resources from management side. They can allocate resources to go and assist those detectives. We've got a shortage of more than 8,000 detectives in the country alone. So that is a serious challenge countrywide. But if you have a flashpoint like the Block P and the Jukuyln area, then maybe that is a good strategy. Because once you start to arrest these people, once you start to build a very good case against them, put it through court and put them away in prison, that will go a long way to restore the faith of the public in the police.
Most certainly, Willem. Thank you so much for your inputs and your insights this evening. That was Willem Els, crime and security analyst, speaking to us there about the heightened crime in the Soshanguve area of Jukuyln and Block P.